Hello, everyone. This is the Conservation Commission acting as the Inland Wetlands Agency Commission, the Wednesday, May 5th, 2021 meeting. I'm Jen Hahuth, the chairman. We have with us Luke Thomas, the vice chair, Charlie Rowan, the secretary, Nelson North, Dabney Bowen, and I'm appointing Amanda Martins Campbell as an alternate. And Brian McCann. Did I get Brian? No. Okay. All right, Roman numeral 3, Bills and Communications, approval of meeting minutes of April 7th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
First, Nelson. Questions, discussion, comments? All right. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Roman numeral 3B, approval of recording secretary's bill of April 7th, 2021. Do we have a motion to pay that bill?
Sure.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Sarah. Roman numeral 3C, search committee for hiring new conservation director status. There's been many applications submitted, and the search committee is going to meet on May 19th to review all those applications that are obviously meeting the qualifications, the basic qualifications. I think there's about at least 20 applications at this point. And I think that's a really good number. And so we're moving right along. Okay. So that's where we are. Do you have any questions? Did you have anything to say, Dabney, on that?
Nope, I think we're in good shape.
Okay, Roman numeral 4, Inland Wetlands Deliberative Session, 4A, Old Business, A1, IWPA 2020 oh, this is Pavlis. I'm gonna recuse myself and have my vice chair do this one.
Okay. So,
sorry, guys.
Really quick, I just want to say it looks like Rick is here now. Mr. Boucher. Just see that popped up.
Oh, hi, Rick. Welcome.
There he is. Hi, Rick.
so
Welcome. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Luke.
okay. So under old business 1, IWPA 2020-21-12, Pavlis, 253 Reading Road, Assessors Map 225, Parcel 37, repair subsurface sewage disposal system within a regulated area. And the last day for a public hearing or decision is June 11th, 2021. Last regular meeting prior is March 3rd, 2021. So the staff recommends approval with conditions. Do we have the staff say anything, or?
I'm happy to go over the project with you. Is the applicant, did they happen to be on, or?
Mike Paterla is here on behalf of the applicant. Mike Paterla is from the Huntington Company. So if he wanted to say a little bit about it.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to turn into a commercial. Can you hear me now? Commissioners, my name is Mike Paterla. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor. I'm with the Huntington Company. Here tonight representing Mr. Alfred Pavlis, the owner of property at 253 Reading Road. The property is over 2 acres. It's almost 2.4. It's 2.37 acres. We had William Kenny Associates flag the wetlands in the field, and our surveyors located the flags and we mapped them, and that's what appears on the map. The wetlands total about 41,404 square feet. Plus the regulated area, it comes a lot bigger, just over 91,000 square feet. There's an existing house that sits up by the road. It's rather small. It's about 600 square feet, about 30 by 20. It was built in 1911. I don't have a date on the barn, but my guess is the barn is maybe a little newer than the house, but I'm not 100% sure. So I say that because there has been passage over the years from naturally from the house back to the barn, and it's been used for storage of different items. What we propose, right now, there's a well where we show the well to the south of the house, and the existing septic system is a place where we've marked approximate area of the septic system. There's no record in the health department, and we don't know of anybody to tell us exactly where the existing septic system is. We found what we thought is an old septic tank. The leaching fields could be just some type of dry well or but we don't even know. So what we'd like to do is take whatever is there now, take it out and put a new septic system, a new septic tank, a new pump chamber, and put a row of 1 foot high concrete galleys in the backyard as shown on the plan. We'll have to make a crossing. That will be a permanent crossing. The crossing is going to be what we call a gravel envelope, and it's stone wrapped in filter fabric. It's pretty common. We've used it many times here in town. It lets the water pass and repass through it. That's about it. Like I say, we had it. I did the soil testing with the health department here in town, with John Olin. He's approved our septic plan, and what we need to do is just get an okay from the state for having a septic tank closer than 75 feet to the well. But because this was an existing non-conforming system, the tank structures should be no problem. And again, our hopefully allow us to make that crossing from the house part of the lot to the barn. And as I say, there's been a crossing there for many, many years. Questions I could hopefully answer, anything you'd like to know?
Thanks a lot for that,
Can you hear
Mike.
me? Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So is everyone clear on what's being proposed? It's a septic replacement, a replacement of a non-conforming system. There's going to be a tank proposed by the dwelling, the leaching field on the other side of the wetland. So this existing lawn area is going to be improved with a gravel crossing. So in total, the work area is approximately 4,000 square feet with 3,500 square feet of work within the upland review and 500 square feet in the wetland itself. The wetland itself, as we wrote up in the staff report, it's a lawn area, doesn't provide a lot of quality now as it relates to overall wetland functions. With that gravel envelope and the maintenance of hydrology, along with some proposed, we've recommended some non-native plant removal and incorporation of native plants in the area of disturbance around the driveway, where we didn't think of this as a significant activity, given the necessity for the home improvement. So we were looking to approve this with the conditions as provided in the draft permit. So happy to discuss at this time.
I just had a question. You mentioned the hydrology. Is it surface? Is it subsurface? And how do we know in 10 years that the gravel and the cloth envelope won't get clogged and remain clogged? I mean, is that a consideration, or is that something that's been thought through?
We've used that type of crossing many, many times here in town. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure if it's the neighbor to the north or two houses to the north. There was a house built, I could only guess, maybe 15 years ago. It's a rear lot with a long driveway in front, and the same thing, when we cross the wetlands, we use this similar driveway crossing. And again, we've used it many other places, but this one we use at least a house or two houses away, and it still functions properly.
And as it relates to hydrology, there's no surface flow through, there's not an intermittent stream or you know, kind of a brook or anything that's running over. It's a groundwater supported wetland. So the idea is just to allow that gravel will wick the water through and maintain that hydrology through the corridor. That extends, you know, pretty extensively to the south. We're in the Brownsbrook watershed. So there's a 95-foot upland review to the wetland. And the remainder of the wetland area, the area of impact is lawn, but the majority of the wetland is a forested system.
So there's no anticipated effects on the water into the wetlands to the south of the gravel road.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Any further questions, commissioners? Do I have a motion? Any further questions? Not, I'm gonna, it's either, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the application with the conditions?
I'll make the motion.
Would anybody like to second the motion?
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Yeah,
Right.
Okay. Any further discussion?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Roman numeral 4B, new business. Request for fee waiver on CWC 2020-21-152 for the Sasquatch Association for Southport Improvement, Inc. for the addition of stone dust paths, boardwalk, planting, signage, and fencing to commemorate the Great Swamp Fight of 1637 at Southport Park, 2591 Post Road. We have something attached from the Sasquatch Association for Southport Improvement, Inc. And it's a fee waiver request. So someone from staff going to discuss?
Madam Chair, I can't take part in this.
Okay. Thank you, Nelson.
Okay, so this was something they had started talking to us probably back in 2019 about wanting to make this trail to commemorate the Pequot Swamp Fight, and everything kind of got delayed with COVID. And they just, I want to say last summer, they met with Brian and Annette and walked through where they want to plan the trail and had kind of a rough sketch of it. They've been working with the Fairfield History Museum and with the National Park Service to do this. That what they want to do is kind of just, they've been back and forth between a stone dust and a swept earth path. And it's just a very small area that they're doing it. And they want to have little educational signs all around to show what had happened. They want to remove some of the invasive plants in Southport Park, which is owned by Sasquatch. It's not a town park, but But yeah, remove some of the invasives, plant some natural species shrubs there. And as a nonprofit, they were requesting a fee waiver. That was something that had been discussed with Brian and Annette as an that they could do that. And then when they started working with me and Ed about it, it had come up. So we just said, it's up to the board. We don't know. It's up to you guys what you want to do. But they are a nonprofit and they have been working with the Fairfield History Museum and National Park Service on this. They're asking for a fee waiver of $640. They would still pay the $60 state fee. Any questions?
Thanks, Sarah. Does anyone have any questions?
May I ask, for the newcomers to the commission, is it customary for a nonprofit to make these fee waivers?
I think we're all fairly new. I think I've only been doing this 4 years, and we've had a couple nonprofits come through and ask for it. I don't think a nonprofit has ever really paid the full fee.
That's correct. I don't recall the last time, but I
know
certainly think
Oaklawn
this is
had come
something
in
that-
at one point. That's the only one I really remember.
I was going to say Oaklawn, yeah.
Yeah, this is Rick Boucher. I just wanted to state that I've worked with the group in the past, and everything that they've done has been really world class. I'm sure the signage could be a question to you all, but I also believe that would be done very, very well.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or discussion? Do we have a motion to approve the $640 fee waiver for the request for the Susquehanna Association for Southport Improvement, Inc.?
So moved.
I'll second.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
I can
Thank you.
second.
Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right, all those
Either.
in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you very much, Sarah.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Roman numeral 4B, number 2, fiscal year 2021-2022 proposed budget status. It's approved by the RTM, and I don't think we need to have this on our agenda anymore, right? Anybody else have anything to say on the budget? Was there anything I'm missing here? It's what we asked for. Okay. Item Roman numeral 4B3, monthly wetland business update for the ABC. See attached. Anything that we should be aware of? Or it's a lot of pools.
Yeah, it's been busy, but nothing that's jumping out as out of the ordinary outside of the volume of it.
Anyone have questions? All right, Roman numeral 5, status of applications previously filed. Continued from October 7, 2020, November 4, 2020, December 2nd, 2020, January 6, 2021, February 3rd, 2021, March 3rd, 2021, and April 7th, 2021. Show cause violation hearing, cease and desist in correct order, 1081 Reading Road, Abby M. Taylor, trustee, channelization of stream course and spilling of wetland soil and spilling within a floodplain. Tabled to unspecified future to allow staff to work out details of restoration.
Yeah, so we just tabled this last month. We're not reopening it right now. They've been working on it. I met with Bill Kenny last week. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And we're just going to keep it as a status update kind of until we're able to close the show cause hearing and release the violation.
Can I ask
Any questions, anyone?
Yeah. Are there any time constraints? Can we do this? Can we continue?
I mean, if this,
continue
yeah,
this?
for right now, because we just approved the final plan last month, I think they're doing fine. If they haven't finished it by by the fall, then certainly we can do something. I think the holdup in getting the final plan was a lot of different factors, but once we got that moving, they've been doing what they should be doing. I haven't seen a problem with that.
Okay, thank you.
We don't need to do anything to continue to table it, do we need to?
Nope,
vote?
it's
We
just
can
on here as a
table.
status
Okay.
update. We're not reopening
Okay.
it.
Okay. All right, Roman numeral 6, new applications. 6.1 IWPA 2020-21-14, Pequot Realty LLC, 250 Pequot Avenue, Assessor's Map 241, Parcel 175A, wetland enhancement within a regulated area. The application type for staff is significant, and the last day for public hearing or decision is July 9th, 2021. Last regular meeting prior is July 7th, 2021. Staff recommends scheduling required public hearing for June 2nd, 2021. Okay.
Mhm.
We'll do that. Do I have a motion to schedule this IWPA for a public hearing on June 2nd?
Moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. That's June 2nd. Okay, we have a supplemental agenda with also some new applications. Do I have a consensus of the commission that we can move to the supplemental agenda and take up those 2 items?
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone okay with that? Okay.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that. This is the May 5th, 2021 meeting of the Conservation Commission. It's the Inland Wetlands, acting as the Inland Wetlands Agency. We have Roman numeral 2, new applications. IWPA 2020-21-15, Woodbridge Construction, 630 and 640 Hoydens Lane, Assessor's Map 67, Parcel 10B and 10, construction of new dwelling within a regulated area. Application type for staff is significant.
No,
Last
you know
day for
what?
public-
That actually was an error on my part. We do not
Okay.
find that significant, and I did
Okay.
that on both of them. Neither of them are significant.
Okay. Application type for staff is non-significant. Petition period ends 5/19/21. Last day for public hearing or decision is July 9th, 2021. Last regular meeting prior to that is July 7th, 2021. Staff recommends tabling pending legal notice and departmental review. So I have a consensus of the commission that we should table pending legal notice and departmental review?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Okay, and Roman numeral 2, number 2, IWPA 2020-21-16, Kim, 100 Mine Hill Road, Assessor's Map 174, Parcel 13A, construction of new dwelling, accessory structure, and subsurface sewage disposal system within a regulated area. Application type for staff. This is non-significant as well.
Non-significant, yep.
Petition period ends 5/19/2021. Last day for public hearing or decision is July 9th, 2021. Last regular meeting prior to is July 7th, 2021. Staff recommends tabling pending legal notice and departmental review. Do I have a sense of the commission that we should table pending legal notice and departmental review?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right, I'm going to move back into the regular agenda. And we are now at the public hearing portion of our evening, Roman numeral 7. And we have IWPA 2020-21-11. And it is the Town of Fairfield Duck Farm Road over Mill River, replacement of Bridge 04953 over the Mill River. The decision may be made if the hearing is completed or the hearing may be continued. The original 35-day public hearing timeframe to complete the hearing ends on June 11th, 2021. 65-day time extension may be provided to the applicant, so a further public hearing continuation to November 13th, 2021 is possible. If the hearing is completed, the decision shall be made within 35 days of the close of the hearing. A potential continuation date is June 2nd, 2021. And I believe we have our town engineer, Mr. Bill Hurley.
Yes, hello. Good evening, commissioners. Bill Hurley, engineering manager for the town of Fairfield. The town is planning on replacing the Duck Farm Road Bridge through the federal local bridge program. The project will involve the complete replacement of the bridge. I wanted to let the commissioners know that the town of Fairfield Engineering Department has agreed to the conditions of approval for the Duck Farm Road Bridge project. I'm here to answer any questions you might have, but also wanted to introduce our consultants from WSP who are designing the bridge and will provide a very short presentation, and we'll be able to answer any questions you might have as well for the Duck Farm Road Bridge. I'd like to now turn it over to Tom Laliberty and Jody Green.
Thank you. Again, Tom Laliberty with WSP, project manager for the design. And I'm here with Jody Green, the project engineer. So Bill introduced himself. So really, the existing bridge structurally deficient. It was a 2-span structure with a pier in the middle of the river. Due to the condition of the bridge, it's a full replacement with a simple span, a longer span, with the abutments behind the proposed abutments behind the existing. Simple span structure without the pier in the middle of the river. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jody that'll give some more details of the project.
Thanks, Tom. So my name is Jody Green. Tom and Bill gave a nice overview, so I'll just continue on with a couple of the details. The main focus of the project is the bridge replacement, but we do have some other items being included as well. The yellow shows the limits of the full roadway reconstruction, which extends from about Alma Drive to Hunter Road intersections on Duck Farm Road. The reason for that is a minor profile adjustment, which I'll show on the next slide. We are also reconstructing the sidewalk along the south side of Duck Farm Road, and we have some minor drainage improvements on the west side of the structure. We're going to be replacing catch basins, and on the east side of the structure, we're going to be installing new catch basins. So this is the profile shown. The existing is the dashed black line and the proposed is the red line. The green is just showing the adjustment. So the reason for this, we wanted to raise the profile over the structure as much as possible to help increase the hydraulic opening. And as a part of that, we also corrected the sag curve to the latest design standards as well. So that's the reason for the profile increase along the roadway, and the average increase at the bridge structure is only about 6 inches. This is showing a comparison of the existing elevation of the structure and the proposed. So the existing structure is the 2 spans. It's about 56 feet long. We will be increasing that to 75-foot span and removing the center pier, so 1 single span replacement. And that'll really help convey the water a lot cleaner at this crossing. So both the existing and proposed structure are overtopped at the 50-year storm, but the overtopping is reduced with the proposed structure. We are also having an open railing on the structure for if and when overtopping occurs. This is showing a comparison of the existing cross section against the proposed. The proposed girders are slightly deeper due to the change from 2 spans to a single span, and also we are concealing the utilities below the bridge in the proposed condition. In the existing condition, the water main is mounted on the outside of the structure. The width of the structure increases slightly just to be able to add a traffic safety railing. Bill mentioned the project is funded through the federal local bridge program. So that means that 80% of the funds are federally funded and then only 20% are by the town of Fairfield. Next, for the project schedule, we are scheduled to finish design later this summer. 100% design submission will be in July. So the construction season will be a single season next year, spring of 2022 to fall of 2022. There will be a full roadway closure in order to construct the bridge, which will last about 7 months. And within that time frame, we do have an in-water construction restriction from July 1st to September 30th from Connecticut Fisheries. And this is the detour that will be implemented. It's a 2-mile detour, and it's the same detour that was used for the replacement of the Mill Plain Road Bridge a few years ago. But so up Mill Plain, down Brookside, and back down Duck Farm. And then lastly, this is just showing a summary of the wetland impacts. Majority of the impacts are temporary to be able to construct the bridge. The permanent impacts are shown here in red. And again, it's just opening up the structure, increasing the span length, and then removing that center pier. We're also installing boulder clusters as requested by Connecticut Fisheries. And lastly, on the south side of the bridge, we will be replacing the drainage outlets, and we will be pulling those back out of the wetlands to outlet outside of the wetlands. So with that, thank you for your attention, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
I have a question. The permanent impacts with the 636 square feet, is that the additional permanent impact when compared to the current footprint, or what is the difference between the current permanent impact versus the new permanent impact?
So that is a comparison from existing conditions to proposed. So as you can see, it really is just showing the red along the existing abutments, because we're going to be opening up the abutments, and then the footprint of the pier itself. So it's just comparing the difference between how it is now and the proposed condition.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, and maybe my question was inartful, the proposed new design will have an additional 636 square feet permanent impact to wetlands?
I guess it's not additional impacts. It's just what is going to be altered from the existing condition. So yeah, the difference between the pier itself. Today there stands a pier there. We're going to take the pier out and put natural stream bed material. So we're considering that impacting the existing condition within the wetlands.
Even though that's an improvement, right? Like you're actually
Right.
removing structure there. And so the biggest impact relates really to the abutments themselves, driving those new abutments in front of the existing.
No, they're actually behind. So
Oh, they're behind.
Really,
okay.
Yeah, so it's really
so
like
then,
the wetland is almost bigger.
It is bigger. So I think you guys were generous in your impact calculation in that regard. Because certainly the center portion is a removal, and so that's a gain in terms of your watercourse bed in that location.
Yeah, let's all remember that impacts aren't necessarily negative.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
I just had two questions.
Go ahead, Charlie.
Sorry, good. No, I just had two questions. You said that it would be overtopped, and I noticed that when I was reading the design exceptions, it said minimum freeboard for the 100-year design storm is freeboard negative 1.26, and then the does not meet the criteria of an underclearance of 3.92 feet for 100-year design storm. I'm thinking that a 100-year storm really isn't a 100-year storm anymore, so I was just sort of wondering what played into that decision not to designed to a 100-year storm? I know there's constraints with the neighborhood and everything. I just was looking to learn a little bit more about it.
Right,
It
right.
really, we couldn't even meet the 50, so it was, it
Right.
really, we tried to open it to the extent that we could, but without impacting the properties around it. This is almost like the most we could go. So it was like a balance that we coordinated with Bill to kind of maximize the opening, convey as much water as we can, but also unable to meet those, 50 and 100-year storms.
Right. And my second question is due to personal experience. The detours right by the high school and the middle school, has that been taken into consideration? Because I struggle through that traffic every morning.
Yeah, so this was, we did bring it up at the public meeting. I think we had about 2 years
Okay.
ago, and we did notify the school for the public
Okay.
meeting. So, but I think the consensus, we had coordinated this with Bill as well, that it generally worked well for the Mill Plain Road replacement. So that was why
Yeah.
it was chosen again.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is Bill Hurley. I just wanted to add that we did, the consultants did use the latest rainfall data, and that was recently revised, I'm going to say around 2017 or so. So they have used the latest rainfall data as opposed to the ones that were done, from several decades ago. They are using the most recent one. And then the other thing, just in case there's any public or anybody involved here that about the schedule, it's hopefully it'll all be done in 7 months. But if there are any utility, weather, or supply delays, it is possible that the construction may have to go into late spring of 2023. But between the town, the state, and maybe even we might even provide a small incentive for the consultant to finish on time. We're really hoping that it is all done in one construction season. So but I just wanted full disclosure on that.
May I speak? I'm the abutting neighbor to this bridge.
Please.
Thank you. My only question was about the.
I'm sorry, can you just give your name and address?
Yes, I'm Krista Grant. I'm at 358 Alma Drive, and the rear of my property abuts this bridge.
Thank you.
My question is, since the elevation of the bridge isn't going any higher, I know we were just discussing this a moment ago. How will the flow of the river be helped during those large floods that we were just discussing? I know currently, at the elevation that the bridge is now, it does overtop, and it also fills in my backyard and my backyard turns into the river, and it sits and swirls in place in my yard. And then it will go over the bridge and over the road. Since the new bridge will be the same height, how is there going to be more flow because the pier is removed in the middle? How is this, is this going to help a lot?
The bridge is, it's about 6 inches higher. So as you said, Krista, it's essentially the same. The piers the span is a little bit longer. So as Jody kind of outlined, the existing has got a 56.5-foot span with that pier in the middle, which is about 3 feet. Whereas the new one is a 75-foot span with no pier. So really it's that opening. There probably is going to be large storms like that 50 and 100-year storm that we're talking about, that will cause that same thing you're seeing. But the hope here is that for the more common storms that you've seen backing up there, you're not going to see that.
Right.
Okay.
And just to add to that, removing the pier also removes an obstruction. So that alone, like there won't be debris, branches, items like that getting stuck on the pier, which would further back up water behind the bridge.
Okay.
It was like a
I
hard
think
balance, Krista, with impacts to your property and that property above the bridge with once you raise it and what happens with the road, with the driveways, with everything.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Before we go to anyone else from the public that would like to speak, commission members, do you have any other questions? Also, does staff want to say anything?
We had read through the application and provided an approval with conditions that included just some additional information on some of their invasive species removals that they described as a mitigative measure. It was just as Bill described, the town, the engineering department has accepted the conditions, and so what is going to be impending is there's an action proposed to remove non-native shrubs within the work area and vines, but we were just looking for some more specific information as to this target species and then removal protocols. And that's just the only outstanding item, and it certainly wouldn't hold up commission action on this. It's a conditional item. So I think that the design they're making the best of what they have, and with the removals of that center pier, the conveyance is going to be increased, and it's a great addition to the design profile here. So at this time, we have no further comments.
This is Rick Boucher. I may have missed this, but is there currently the railings on the bridge are tubular steel with an aluminum-like finish? Is there an opportunity to use anything that's more natural and perhaps more pleasant for the neighborhood?
So-
Go ahead, Jody.
I guess I just want to say we do, because we have the federal funding, we are required to use first and foremost, we want the proposed structure to be safe. So we want to provide a safety railing on the structure. And then furthermore, because there are federal funds, we are tied to the federal standards as well. The railing that we do have proposed, it was actually recently used on the Valley Road Bridge in town. I think it was possibly 5 or 6 years ago at this point, but it was coordinated, the black color was coordinated with the public as well. So that was selected there.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, I live by there. That's actually kind of nice.
Ms. Green, is the pedestrian rail and pedestrian sidewalk a new addition?
It is not. It is existing today. There is a sidewalk there. We're just reconstructing. I think the sidewalk on the bridge right now is 5 feet, and we're increasing it to 6 feet to agree with town standards.
The rail change very much?
The cross section of the railing. So actually, what's out there is very minimal. So we are putting a more substantial railing out there, but yeah, unfortunately, if there was a collision with the existing railing, it really wouldn't do much. So that the proposed railing obviously is per local standards for safety.
Is that an open railing?
Yes, it's open railing for the hydraulics.
Any other questions from the commission? Go ahead.
This is Bill Hurley again. I just wanted to say, the goal here is to have it maybe look like the Valley Road Bridge. So if anyone wanted to see what it would look like, we worked with that neighborhood, and it was pretty much consensus. We could do the same here with a couple of the neighbors who want to be involved. But that's our goal, is to make it look very similar to that. It meets the federal guidelines, and it's fairly ornamental considering some of the other choices. And so if anyone wants to look at that, it'll give you a good idea. That's all.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to say anything, or anyone on? And the applicant's finished, there's nothing else, correct? Now,
Listen.
I should have asked this question before I started, but
Oh.
go ahead.
I just wanted to show you, this is what the Valley Road Bridge looks like. So that it'll be a similar presentation for Duck Farm with the black open railing.
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, anyone else? You're all set? I have a question of everyone, or Sarah. Do I need to close out this IWPA public hearing to vote and then open up a new public hearing for the other public hearing IWPA?
Yeah, we'll close this
Or do
one
I-
and then you guys can either
Okay.
discuss and decide, or we can start the other one.
Okay.
But this one would need to be closed.
Okay. Sorry, I've never done two in one night. Do we have a motion to close this public hearing?
To close this public hearing.
Second. Daphne? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, do we have a motion to discuss on this on this IWPA?
The motion would be to approve with the conditions. Is that what it would be? Okay. So I'll move that IWPA 2020-21-11 be approved with conditions.
Is there a second?
Amanda.
Dabney. Discussion. All right, we ready to vote? All those in favor to approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hurley.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you,
All
Jody
presenters.
and Tom. Thank you, all the commissioners. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Valley Road.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Sarah. Okay. We are now to IWPA 2020-21-13, Russo and Rizzio, LLC, 1143 Saskell Hill Road, Assessors Map 239, Parcel 7, 7-lot subdivision within a regulated area. Decision may be made if the hearing is completed or the hearing may be continued. The original 35-day public hearing time frame to complete the hearing ends on June 11th, 2021. A 65-day time extension may be provided by the applicant, so a further public hearing continuation to November 13th, 2021 is possible. If the hearing is completed, the decision shall be made within 35 days of the close of the hearing. A potential continuation date is June 2nd, 2021. And who do we have for the applicant? Attorney Russo, I believe.
Yes, Chairman. Attorney Russo with Russo and Rizzio LLC, offices at 10 Saskell Hill Road. Here on behalf of the applicant. Good to be before you and the commissioners. I know we have previously discussed this property. We were before you a couple months ago, or before the conservation. Oh wait, it's starting to feedback here. Can everybody hear me, or is there a lot of feedback?
And that didn't work out for you, and we couldn't give you this.
There's someone talking somewhere.
Yeah, I think I just muted where that was coming from.
Okay.
Okay.
Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
we can.
Okay. So
that's Mike.
So we had been before the Conservation Commission on this project. That was for an open space referral. We are now here before you for the subdivision, for the approval of the 7-lot subdivision. I'll pull up our site plan here. 1 second. Okay. So I know that there was a number of comments from staff with the town that we received last week. We've been working this past week to respond to those comments. We dug test holes, got test hole data, and we have our responses to those comments. We're going to be submitting them to staff. But obviously, because it's not ready for this hearing, this will have to be continued until the next hearing. But I did want to just open the hearing and give a brief overview again of the project and what we're proposing to do. So this is 1143 Sasko Hill Road. It sits at the end of Sasko Hill Road. I'm sure almost everyone here knows this property. And we have proposed a 7-lot subdivision that will be accessed by a private road off of Sasko Hill Road. We are proposing to also bring sewer to this site from the Country Club of Fairfield. When the Country Club of Fairfield went for its recent renovation, they got approval to bring the sewer to their property line essentially, and we are proposing, I should say, to extend that line further down to our property, which will actually also make connections available to all the other Sasko Hill properties that are along the way as we sit at the very end. The property itself has a number of outbuildings. It has the large single-family dwelling, which is the one that probably everybody's familiar with, but there are also a number of existing buildings on the property. There is a gatehouse here. There is a guest house a little bit closer to the water. There's a tennis court and pool. There is a 1-story residence that's a little bit closer to the eastern side of the property. There's also a garage that's near the single-family dwelling. The wetlands on this property, it's a 20-acre property. There is a small pocket of wetlands, and Bill Kenny's here can describe this wetlands later. But it is a small pocket right here, and we have the regulated area shown here on this plan. And the other thing you'll notice, which you might remember from the Conservation Commission hearing, is that there's this large gray area here that is a conservation easement to the Aspetuck Land Trust. It's in favor of the Aspetuck Land Trust. There are a number of restrictions. It's really a conservation restriction. It restricts this area, which includes the wetlands itself and almost all of the regulated area. It mainly prevents the construction of another structure. We are actually in the process, though, of working with the Aspetuck Land Trust to expand the restrictions in this the original conservation restriction document, which will expand the area where there's going to be some coastal meadow grasses. This is one of the kind of rare examples of a coastal meadow, and so we're working with Aspetuck Land Trust Aspetuck Land Trust to expand that coastal meadow area and enhance some of the restrictions beyond what's already there now. As far as work within the regulated area, there's really not much we're proposing for the regulated area. This is a demolition plan, and you can see here, I'll zoom in here. Right now, there is a paved walkway that runs down and it runs through the regulated area. It goes down to the beach house, which is that that beach house that it is one of the main features on Fairfield shoreline. And so it runs through this regulated area. That's being removed. And the pool and the tennis court, which are just on the edge of the regulated area, are also being removed. And otherwise, we're really not proposing anything within the regulated area. Bill Kenny's working on a plan that will talk about maintenance of that area, removing invasives. But truth be told, there's actually a previous approval on this site where we already have to do that. So it's not really a change from what already exists. We did do a plan that showed where potential dwellings could go, and where drainage systems could go for those dwellings. As the anticipation is that, you know, if this subdivision is approved, my client would then put these lots up for sale, and I'm sure any new buyer would come before you in the future with a different design for these houses. They're just kind of standard houses that we have placed on these lots to show that one, they could fit within the setbacks and how they would be accessed, but then also the drainage systems, and all those systems are outside the regulated area, which is it's actually a pretty sizable setback from the wetlands. It's 144 feet. So really, there's no work proposed, any significant work certainly proposed within the regulated area. And that's basically it. I just wanted to introduce it, and I know we'll be back before you again next month, as staff's, you know, will have reviewed our response to their comments. Bill Kenny's on the line. I don't know, Bill, if you want to speak a little bit about the wetland that's on this property, its characteristics, and any information you could provide them on it.
Sure, I could give a brief description. Good evening, I'm Bill Kenny, the principal of William Kenny Associates here in Fairfield, professional wetland scientist, soil scientist, and landscape architect. I've been involved with this property several times over the last 20 years. I mapped wetlands on the property beginning in 2001, and was back there again around 2008 or 9 when the seawall was replaced. There was an old seawall that was replaced, and they put in a boulder revetment to protect the coastline from soil erosion. And that was in the area of the close to the inland wetland. And the wetland is at the base of the slope. This is a drumlin landscape feature. The property sits on a drumlin where there's hard pan soils. And what that means is that you get down 2 or 3 feet and the soil is fairly compact, and it prevents a lot of water from moving vertically, and the water ends up moving horizontally. And often when you have that, you end up with a wetland at the base of the slope, and that's what you have on this site, is that there's a wetland pocket shown on the drawings. So as part of some of the comments from the staff, we are going to revisit the property and take another look at the delineation and review that, see if there's been any changes. That wetland it's a marsh area. It's dominated by herbaceous plant material, primarily Phragmites, the invasive reed grass. So we will reevaluate the boundary location. We'll do a more in-depth assessment of the conditions of the wetland as they are today and regulated area. And we will also update the management plan that we had for that conservation zone that is along the coast of that property, along the Long Island Sound shoreline for the property. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, I'd be pleased to answer them.
Yes, Chairman. If
Questions, anyone?
Sorry?
Go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, Chairman, we were hoping if there were commissioners who maybe, you know, had reviewed these plans and had any questions, or comments or homework for us really to kind of to go look at before next month, it would be greatly appreciated. And we can spend this time, trying to answer anything any questions that anybody might have.
Anyone, commission? I know I'm happy to have the staff recommendations and have the further additional documentation be submitted. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering, why would you even apply for why would you even submit the application if it wasn't fully ready?
Well, the application was ready. We submitted it in, and we just received comments based on what we had submitted from staff, and we've already gotten started on it. But we finished up this week on we got it last week. We just finished up today really with the responses, but that's just based on the comments that we've had on our initial submission.
Chris, hi, it's Megan Raymond here. I had one other question or a question for you guys. Just looking at the drawing, with that the primary dwelling on the site, it looks like that's the only one that's not going to be connected to the sewer. That doesn't have a force main, and so it seems like the existing septic is going to remain. Then one would assume, and it's just not labeled on the. It's not on the drawing.
That's not. I'll have to look and check and make sure with the engineer. But that is not going to remain on septic. That will be taken off. All properties will run to the new sewer.
Okay.
But I'll make sure that that's made clear if it's not noted there on the plans.
Thanks.
Something else you mentioned. This is just the lots. This doesn't include building plans. It's just you're doing the hookups and you'll be parceling onto the lots.
Correct. Yes. So, and I spoke with Sarah this morning about this. This application is just for the subdivision, and is the approval from this commission is needed to then go to planning and zoning to have the final approval of the subdivision. If somebody were to then come back, and would happen in the future, would come back to actually build a house on one of the lots that contains regulated area or the wetlands, they would be coming back before you with those specific house and building plans for approval.
Right, but Chris, the road is included in your approval, your
Correct.
request. It's the road and the lots. Got it.
Correct. Yeah, it's for approval of the road and the lots. Correct. And the work that's done in connection with that within the regulated area.
Exactly, drainage, removals, etc.
Absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions for Chris, Attorney Russo? Is there anyone that needs to be heard, Sarah, that's on here? I don't see anyone. Okay, it looks like we need a motion to continue public hearing pending submittal of additional information.
Thank you, everyone.
Do I have that motion? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I need to close the public hearing. I apologize. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
You want to continue the public hearing, Jen?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Then I was right.
So, yeah. Motion to continue then, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do a motion to continue the public hearing pending submittal of additional information to be provided to the staff.
Do I have a second?
Charlie?
Charlie. Okay, discussion? Any discussion?
Sorry, I was on mute.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Russo. And Megan. Okay, Roman numeral 8, other. Is there anything else we need to talk about? Anything, Sarah?
Sarah, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I don't think there's anything new. Megan, Matt, did you have anything?
Can I ask a quick question about recent violations?
Sure.
The 926 Hulls Farm Road, it says formerly the Taft School. That's interesting. I didn't realize that was, is that the original site of the Taft School?
Honestly, that is so far, that has been on for so long. I don't even know what that violation is for.
Right.
That
So that's the property that is, I believe, that.
Yes, that was before the commission for the easement
That's right.
revision.
That's right.
And
So that was my question. Do you remember when that violation was first? The pond dredging and filling the water. I'm just wondering how old that violation is.
it is, it's very old. I don't know. I'd assume like decades, honestly, but I can look into it and let you know. But that is that predates me for sure.
I'm curious about it as it relates to their most recent application. And whether that
Unfortunately,
violation.
Annette or Brian could answer that better. But I know I talked to Brian and he said he didn't even really, there was no way to really prove a violation on that, the way that where it said that they were filling, he couldn't even tell because it had been there so long. He didn't know what it was. I don't, Matt, you were out there.
Yeah, I've actually been out to that site with Brian to look at the conservation swap. So we actually walked over to that area that is, it's actually downstream of the dam itself that's breached. And I will say that if it was filled, and it may have been historically, I would say it's hard to determine that it was recent. It was completely covered with herbaceous vegetation as well as some shrubs. So I don't think it was recent based on what I saw out there. But historically, it has certainly been filled
So this
as
is
part
not,
of.
so the 926 Hulls Farm Road, that's the Foley property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so wouldn't this be upstream and including the breached dam?
Matt, you saw the area where it was, so I'm not sure where it is. I thought it was to the dam.
No, so my conversation with Brian when we were out in the field when he was discussing this with me in terms of the violation that Annette had identified originally, her concern for the violation was disposal of fill material into a wetland that was downstream of the breach dam, and it's immediately downstream. So it's almost like they were trying to reinforce the face of the dam with the material at some point. If you've been to the site and if obviously I don't think the commissioners have, the actual pond itself is, so the dam's been breached and the pond has actually been revegetated. The pond bottom is revegetated at this point, and it's the what I would call the low flow or natural fall wag of the stream has reformed within the bottom of the drained impoundment. And as you move further upstream from the impoundment itself, there is a stream segment and then an existing old roadway crossing that's in somewhat disrepair and is actually flagged as not allowing people to actually cross it. There isn't any other violations in terms of this deposition of fill from the breached dam up to that culvert. So from what I was told during the investigation with Brian was that the concern was this fill material immediately downstream of the dam, and it's along the face of the dam.
So I guess I was just getting confused which way the water runs at that point. So yeah, I mean I traverse that property on a regular basis and I'm very, very familiar with it. And I know that, I'm bringing it up only because it may be relevant and pertinent to their recent application and presumed interest in subdividing that property. So it would be interesting to know when that violation was first issued and any background information that we have on that, and if and how Mr. Foley has addressed that violation.
I believe, I'm sure there's a file somewhere in the office. And I think, if I remember correctly, Ed had said when we were talking about the easement revision, that Tom Stanky had had pictures, but Ed had never been able to find them. So I don't know if we have as much information as we normally would. But I think this was the property where Ed had said during the meeting that there should have been pictures, but he hadn't been able to find them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't mean to add anything any more to your plate, Sarah, but I just think going forward, we will, I imagine, be seeing more activity on that property. So it might be helpful to have that information in preparation for that.
Will do.
Just a question, a violation that's on there for that long, it just stays there until it gets resolved, or how does it get off the list? Is it until we have an application to do something on the property and we can make them fix it?
So to be quite honest, Annette always maintained this list and I never really knew what she did with it. I think, because looking at these, I think some of them, a couple of them, like I know the Partridge Lane pretty much is done, like that one's done. I think 4900 Congress Street is done. So I think she would take them off as they were done.
So staff can take them off as soon as they're
satisfied. Because a lot
level.
of these never came before you as a show cause hearing.
Cease and desist.
Yeah.
A lot of these been around forever. That first one,
it
used to be Red 5, and they went bankrupt, and now I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, and I know that first one's been hanging around for ever.
Well, one of the things that we can do is, so one of the things we can do with Sarah is walk through the list of violations and figure out where they are at this time, and potentially provide at the next meeting, provide maybe a staff report on where those are currently, and where they need to go to either close them out, or what is being done currently by those individuals that have either gotten a cease and desist or are in violation. And that way it informs the commission as to where we are with the status of these particular issues.
We can do that.
Great, thank you. Only if you have nothing else to do, though.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions?
The only
thing I have a motion to.
Oh, I was just going to add one quick thing. Sorry, the spoiler. One quick thing, and that was I had talked to Deep. We can take this offline, but we're going to be sending off some training material, some additional just kind of background materials for everyone to review at their discretion. But the other thing is to encourage you, I guess, between now and the next meeting to I guess look at take any opportunity that you have to take a look at some of these properties where applications are proposed and familiar ourselves with the land, because that is just a great direct observation is certainly a great tool to these drawings, looking at them in one dimension. So just throwing that out there. Thanks.
Can I ask you a silly question about that? Do we have the right to go onto the property?
Yes.
Can you explain that process a little bit so we feel comfortable? I know I was always confused about that too in the beginning. So
sure. So when it's interesting. So when people when the applications are submitted, there's and correct me if I'm wrong here, Sarah, but typically there's a form in the application that allows access for review. And so you are allowed to enter these properties, but what you would want to and passively observe, if you wanted to formalize this into rather a commission on-site, a formal commission on-site, what we would want to do there is you'd have to notice the meeting as with an agenda, because it's a quorum and it's considered to be just a public meeting at that time. And at that point, because it's on the agenda, the public can also potentially join. And some property owners don't like to have public on the property, and that's where there can be a bifurcation where a full commission engagement on the property might be more specific, right? You need to get approval from the actual property owner as to hold a formal site walk in that regard. So that's why going individual. So what we're suggesting now, we're not throwing out a formal site walk as a commission in total, but rather just encouraging you to go individually. But certainly you are encouraged to do so. And what we typically do is a knock on the door, just kind of wander around, but you do and obviously these days, you're masking up, knock on the door. Hi, I'm here from the Conservation Commission. I'm just going to take a walk around. And then, then you go on your way. But would be the procedure there. If you wanted to get into looking to on-sites as a full commission, maybe for real complicated projects that come in down the road, then we would just notice that and throw out the agenda and make sure that we have the approval with the property owner to have that event take place.
Okay, thank you.
And for example, the 1143 Sasko Hill property, is that gated or closed off and it's not inhabited currently? So would we need some sort of special permission, or can you just walk on?
This is Rick Boucher. I was there today, and it is closed, locked up pretty tight. A little bit difficult to find out the exact street address, but with a little bit of homework up and down Sasko Hill, you can find it. But I don't believe it's easy access for review.
It is not, Mr. Boucher. Is that what you said? It is not easy to view?
Pardon me?
I didn't hear it. It is not easy to access. It's difficult. Is that what
Correct.
you said?
Yeah, what you would have to do is park down at the beach and walk up the hill. It's not a long walk. There is a hill there. I will be the first to admit that I've accessed that property from the rocks, from the water side. There isn't a lot going on there, but there are surveyors and engineers on site these days. When I drive by, I see their trucks. The gate over to the main driveway is locked. It's gated and locked. There's a second driveway near the guest house that is sometimes open and sometimes closed. So it's really a crapshoot. But if you park down at the beach and you have a beach sticker, it's an easy walk up onto the property.
Megan, should we do a commission site walk on this one, or should we? I don't know when we're going to see them again next month.
Right.
We have to do this before we vote, obviously.
Right. I mean, that's up to you all if you want to try to do that, or I mean, I think that this one, the actual wetland area is relatively limited, but I think that there are certainly a lot of activities. It could be helpful to kind of take a look at everything. It's just whatever your appetite is. I mean, we're still, we're happy to kind of engage the applicant as to gaining, approval for the site walk, but we would notice it and we figure out a time. I mean, a lot of commissions, now that it's light later in the day, that it's like a Wednesday night at 5:30 type of thing, or sometimes people do it on Sundays. It's another kind of burden on all of your time. So it's just a matter of whether you guys want to to do that. I think it's certainly a great exercise to do. And I guess the other thing with the site walks is that they're really strictly they're strictly for orientation, and that's it. There's no discussion of the merits of the project or impacts or anything else. It's just like, this is north, this is south, this is removed, this is staying. That's the only purpose. It's nothing further than that.
But I think there's a lot of benefit to seeing a property with your own eyes. And when we talk about impacts, sometimes it's difficult to really understand the impacts without seeing it physically. So I would even argue that any project that has the potential for serious environmental impact or wetland impact, that we should all try to make an effort to go see that. And I'm in the same vein, and this isn't necessarily the right forum. I was going to wait until our regular monthly meetings, but I was going to suggest that with our open spaces. I'm guessing that, you know, some of us, most of us haven't been to most of the open spaces that we are charged with overseeing. So, but I think that any property where there's a potential significant impact, we should all make an effort.
Absolutely. It's very proper to do so. I guess we can wait to see what we get from Sasko Hill for our next hearing, and if we don't vote that night, we can go out together if we decide we want to do that. But otherwise, we can go individually. That makes sense?
Yeah, that sounds good from here. I mean, I think that yeah, it's whatever. You know, I think maybe just planting the seed that this is probably something that's going to be impending, like that you know, that's good. And then in between now and the next hearing for Sasko Hill, to try to get out there and, you know, access from the beach, or happen to come upon the secondary driveway that's open, and pop in and take a look around. And what you're really looking at the wetland area is just that toe of that slope. It's got all the, you know, it's phragmite, so it's the tall grass with the bushy head that kids often break and use as swords when you're walking around.
Well, yeah, apparently commission members used to get a picture ID to put around their neck so people would know who they were. But I've never seen that, so that would be great to have.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Flash that.
That is a great idea.
Okay, is there anything else? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn? Luke. All those in favor? Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Rich and Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Megan.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.